So when the user selects a movie, we want to add this movie to a list because a customer may rent multiple movies. So here in our rental form, first I'm going to create a placeholder for this list. UL with the ID movies and the class list-group. This is another Bootstrap class that we use for creating lists. That's it. Now back in our callback function, here we get the element with the ID movies and append a list item. And here we add the name of the movie and then close the list item. We're modifying the DOM elements directly. Now in this particular example, this is not too bad. But in more complex applications, this may end up being a code smell. That's when we use libraries or frameworks that provide data binding, like Knockout, Angular, React, and so on. So instead of working directly with the DOM, we bind our DOM elements to a model, or more accurately, a view model. The framework itself will take care of refreshing the DOM when the underlying view model changes. And this way, we'll have better separation of concerns because our JavaScript code will not include any HTML markup. Also, unit testing this code will be easier because our code will not be dependent on the availability of a document object model in our unit tests. Now, if all this sounds complicated, don't worry about it. It's beyond the scope of this course, but I just wanted to give you some direction. So back here, when we select a movie, we add this movie to our list. Now, there are a couple more things we need to do before we finish this lecture. First, we need to clear the text box after the selection. So we get the movie text box. Now here we cannot use the jQuery val method to set its value because we have applied the typeahead plugin on it. So to change the value, we need to use the typeahead plugin. We call the typeahead method. As the first argument, we specify the property we want to update, which is val, and here's the value. Second, we want to store this movie in our view model so we can send it to the server later. So I'm going to go on the top. Here's our view model. I'm going to add a property here, movie IDs, and initialize it to an empty array so we can push objects to it. Otherwise, we're going to get an exception. Now, back in our callback function, we set vm.movieIDs.push movie.id. Let's quickly test this. Save, back to the browser, refresh. So here's one movie, here's another. Now we have some aesthetic issues, which is the topic for the next lecture.